Hey guys, I wanted to welcome y'all to week 4 of ENC 1143, and this is where we start getting into the good stuff. I guess maybe I think it's good. I don't know. You might think otherwise, but this is where we get into the meat of the semester, really. And you guys have done a really good job so far of staying on top of the assignments and doing things really thoughtfully and understanding what you're supposed to be getting out of it. And we've had some really good conversations on the discussion boards, and I really liked what you guys did with the preliminary rhetorical reading notes. But with that in mind, there are a couple of things that I wanted to talk to you guys about before we got into the rhetorical reading notes and rhetorical analysis that you are actually being graded on. Because like I said before, the first one, these preliminary ones, were just that. All you really had to do was do it, show that you completed the assignment, and you were getting credit for that. So for those of you that did that and got everything in on time, thank you very much. I've gotten through grading the reading notes. I'm going to work on grading the rhetorical analysis this week, as well as your self-style reflection. But I've got a lot of grading to do, so bear with me. I'm going to get it done as quickly as possible, but I also want to make sure I can give you guys, each one the time that it deserves. So sit tight, grades are coming. With that, though, since I did look at the rhetorical reading notes, there are a couple of things that I wanted to call to your attention and have you guys keep in mind as you move forward with other sets of notes and other rhetorical analysis assignments. So first of all, you've got your first expressions textbook, right? So I realized that this first one was basically just the Bill of Rights. So that was a little different than all the other ones, which is again why I did it as the preliminary one, figuring, you know what, you got to read this anyway to put everything else in context. So let's start with this and see how you guys engage with that. And you guys did a really good job. It was interesting for me to see how different people had different reactions to the same thing. Even different thoughts on some stuff. I'm not going to go into a whole lot of it now. But I thought, those of you that commented on Amendment 2, which is the right to bear arms, we had some interesting and intelligently posed, really conflicting ideas on that, which was kind of cool for me to see people expressing their different ideas in a really intelligent and thoughtful way. So good job with that. But for all of the other ones moving forward, a couple of things you need to keep in mind when you're doing these notes. First of all, who is the original author of the piece? Okay, so to answer a question that I got a couple of times, the author is never the Department of English. Okay, the Department of English did not write these articles. They did not write these texts. They were just compiled them into a textbook for this class. And you also need to think about the original publication date of the pieces of writing that are in this book. So original being the key word, because thinking about that original date, the original author, the whole original time period that these things are taking place is going to help you think a little more thoughtfully and clearly about the rhetorical situation. And I've mentioned this before in a previous video, but the rhetorical situation is basically what's going on at the time that this thing was written. What culturally, historically, what have you, could have informed why this was written, how it was written, or what it was written for, basically, right? So here's a little tip for you. If you go into your textbook and you go to the very last page, where it says acknowledgements, this has all of the original authors and original publication dates, and it tells you where these things were originally published. Amazing! I know, right? I'm giving it all to you right here. Now, that doesn't mean that you don't have to do a little bit more research on your own, okay? So if you see that our next piece, for instance, that you're going to be doing your rhetorical analysis and rhetorical reading notes on is Seriously, Free Speech, Rights, and Artificial Intelligence. That was written by Tony Massaro and Helen Norton, and it was published in the Northwestern University Law Review, okay? So what you're going to want to do then is research those people. Find out what makes them credible to be talking about this. Just the fact that they work at a university isn't enough to give them the credibility that you really want for a rhetorical analysis of something. You need to know specifically, what they did, who they are, and what makes them credible to talk about this. Okay, so you might want to do a little bit of research on those folks, find out, what else did they publish? How long have they been a professor? How long have they been, writing for law reviews, that kind of stuff. Okay, so this gets you started with all that information, but then it's up to you then to dig a little bit deeper on your own to then start painting the picture of that rhetorical situation. All right, easy enough. A couple of things that I also wanted to talk to you guys about when doing your rhetorical reading notes is being a bit more detailed with some things. These notes are for you to be able to create a better rhetorical analysis, but they are also something that you're graded on, so you're going to want to put the time into them. Meaning, for instance, one of the questions is, what's the genre of this piece? And we're looking for you to get more specific there, okay? So just saying nonfiction, yeah, technically that's correct, but it doesn't totally fulfill what you need to know for genre, okay? So for your next one, it was published in a law review, okay? So take a look at it, get more specific with the genre. It's a nonfiction academic piece in a law review for an audience of legal professionals. You may think differently, but that's a good high-level idea of what this is supposed to be, right? And another thing that you'll want to do is find that balance between your own original words and thoughts and analysis and quotes that you pull from the text to support what you're saying. You need to have sufficient evidence from the text in order to create a successful analysis, but you have to put every quote that you use into context. So don't just have a sentence from the text sitting there without qualifying why you put that there. Hopefully that makes sense. Because I'm not looking for a sentence by you, then a quote from the text, a sentence by you, then a quote from the text. I need them to seamlessly go together, meaning you could say that, in their article about this, Morrison said, quote, in order to blah, 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 right? If you have any questions about how to do this artfully, feel free to email me. I'm in front of a computer all day, so I'm pretty accessible by email during the day. And so with that, just wanted to introduce this reading for you. So like I said, it is in your textbook, starts on page 58. Okay, so you need this. Page 58 is where this reading is. And it's about where the First Amendment could theoretically go with the advent of new technology. So we have a lot of smart devices that have some form of intelligence, just an example to put it in context, I guess, in my day job. So when I'm not teaching, I'm working for an internet marketing company, and I help manipulate what Google does with search results. So if you've ever Googled something, and you see like ads pop up, if you need a new fence for your house or something, you can Google fencing contractor in Jacksonville, and ads pop up. I'm the one that puts them there. But what I do is I feed information to Google saying, all right, when somebody does this, hopefully this shows up. But Google has an algorithm. Google basically has a brain that then takes what somebody types in and says, oh, well, this person's looking for this. Maybe this thing that was put in over here would be relevant to them. So it makes connections. It's a form of intelligence, all right? And so we're getting to the point where, can robots think? That's basically what this is. And if robots can think, if robots can speak, are they allowed free speech? Does it apply to them? And it may seem concrete, like, no, robots, they're not people, you know, but what's interesting in this piece that you guys are going to read is that in the law now, there are some non-human entities that are considered people in the eyes of the law, like a corporation. A corporation is an entity that can sue somebody. A corporation is an entity that can be sued, but, you know, within the confines of the law. So with that logic, a robot being a non-human entity, is it allowed the rights in the Constitution? I don't know. That's what this is all about. So that's what you guys are going to analyze for this week. I believe it is due on Sunday. Make sure you get your stuff in on time, people. The last thing I want to do is not be able to give you points because you didn't turn something in. I hate failing people just because they don't turn something in. So please pay attention to due dates. I have most of the second module up now, so you're good through almost the end of October, knowing when things are going to be due. There's no excuse for poor planning. Okay, you have it all out there. You have the next month and a half almost right there. So just stay on top of it. All right. I guess that's all I have to say to you guys this week. Have a great fourth week of the semester. Like I said, any questions, feel free to email me. I'm going to get on grading stuff for you, and have a great week. Like I said.